right, in this video we're gonna take a deeper look into my 1957 Chevrolet 210. But first of all, I would like to say to all the people that are watching these videos and to those that have subscribed, man, thanks a lot. I appreciate that. I'm almost at 500 subscribers now, which, I mean, in YouTube terms is probably peanuts, but that's huge for me. That means a lot to me. So thank you guys. I appreciate it. So the story of this car. I bought this car in December of 2021. And I had been looking for a project because I had this engine. I've had this engine for a long time, and I wanted something to put it in. So I had been looking locally for an older two-door coupe. I didn't even really care what it was, just so long as it was GM and it was, you know, older than 70, say. So I was looking locally, nothing panned out. Everything was way too expensive for, you know, garbage. And then this one popped up on eBay. And I looked over the pictures, looked through the description, and I made the dude an offer. And he took it. And I was like, holy crap. So I called him, I talked to him. He explained to me the condition the car was in. It sounded exactly like what I wanted, so I paid him the money, I paid a shipper, and next thing you know, a week later, this thing was at my house. And when I got the car, it was basically just a roller. It had no engine, no trans, no interior, no brakes. I'll show you a picture of that. I'll insert one here. And that's when I got started. Like that weekend, I started on it. And the first thing that I did was I put a floor in it. The floors were rotten. So I cut the floor out with a plasma cutter, got a new one, unbolted the body, lifted the body up with a cherry picker, slid the new one in, welded it in, boom, done. After that, I did a patch panel back here in front of the wheel well, and I did one on the other side. For the most part, the car was pretty straight. Yeah, I replaced the section there. It was in pretty good condition since it came from Minnesota, I was like, ooh boy. So in the wheel wells was some rust, and I'll show you when we get to that part. Did the floor, then the firewall was looking real ugly. So I cleaned that up and painted it. It didn't match the patina of the rest of the car. I don't even really consider this a patina, to be honest with you. I cleaned and painted that, and then I put the engine in. This is a 355 cubic inch Chevrolet small block. It's got a steel crank. It's got Chevrolet pink rods. And it's got forged TRW pistons. Crane rockers, 1.5. It's got a Lunati cam. The spec is in the video description. And an Edelbrock turnaround. And it now has two Holleys 650 double pumpers. I started off with two 660 Holleys center squirters, and it ran okay, but I don't think those carburetors are really meant for the street. I was having trouble with it bogging in the secondary position, and the deal with those carburetors is they're a 1-to-1 linkage, so the primaries and the secondaries both open at the same time. And they don't have, you know, a squirter for the secondaries when they open. A double pumper does. That helped tremendously. When I put these carburetors on and got to tuning, it was so much better. It was ridiculous. The engine, everything is solid mounted. The engine is set forward 3/4 of an inch. as you can see, I've got hardly any wiring in there. That's how I wanted it. I wanted that look. I wanted the look of barely any accessory. I wanted it to just look like an engine and headers in there. That was it. So I'm running just a water pump and an alternator. And the alternator is actually for a little forklift. So I built the bracket for that and the mounts, spaced it all out. It's 60 amps, and all I needed to do is power the fuel pump and the electric fan, and it's good. It runs good with it. Speaking of electric fan, one thing that this car, it's built old style, but it's not true to old style. There was a couple things that I was not going to compromise on. One was an electric fan, because I like the way it looks and it frees up a little power, and disc brakes. I got disc brakes all four corners because I hate drum brakes. Excuse me. And these stop better. They're just better in every way. So, Fenderwell headers. These are Patriot Fenderwell headers. They fit okay. I had to heat this side up with a torch and bend them where I wanted them. That's another compromise I had to make with this car. I wanted it low, but I can only run it so low with the Fenderwell headers because they will hit. And I think they still might rub a little bit. So, what did I want? Fenderwell headers or the front end low? Well, I wanted the Fenderwell headers more. It was like key to the look. And this is as low as I could get it. And it looks okay. I had it an inch lower and it looked way better, but it just wouldn't work. The tires were rubbing. And as you can see, I do a lot of exhaust videos. We're kind of in exhaust world right now. The exhaust is actually welded into the side of the header and runs back. There's an upcoming video about experimenting with that. I know it's not the greatest, having a 90 come out of that header. It's disrupting flow like crazy, but we'll get into that. I kind of have an experimental solution for that. Okay, what next? The interior, as you can see, I didn't care that the car came with no interior because I knew what I wanted to do. I knew it was going to be very bare bones. So I cleaned it all up, painted it, made it look how I wanted. It's very simple. The steering wheel is in old 60s or 70s, like a Superior style, got the metal flake, but I blast all the chrome off of those and get a bare metal look and then soak it with some Gibbs oil, and that's just a look that I like. Same thing with the shifter. Shifter is the same way. I made that myself. I like the way it looks. And the shift ball, people have been asking me about the shift ball. I make those myself. Don't tell anybody. And if you want one, you know, get a hold of me. Work out a deal. Plain Jane cheap buggy seat for now. I'm looking for some old vintage seats. I cleaned it up. I reupholstered the doors just myself. Everything on this car you'll find that I did myself. Like, even if I didn't know how to do it, I was doing it myself. The roll bar, same thing. I ordered the tubing, bent it all up. I actually bent that with a Harbor Freight pipe bender. And if you don't know, a pipe bender and a tubing bender are not the same thing. So I had to modify the Harbor Freight pipe bender to accept this size tubing. And then I had to figure out how to bend it clean without kinking it. And it took a while, but I finally got it. You gotta bend it like 10 degrees, move an inch, bend it 10 degrees, move an inch, so on and so on. Also, during this time, I really didn't know how to TIG weld, so I got a TIG welder, and every day after work I would come home and TIG weld, and until I got good enough, then I TIG welded this roll bar in. It's not the greatest, but I did it myself and I like it. Came out good. It was a good learning experience. The roll cage is welded to the frame. I've got steel square tubing that goes from the body to the frame that's welded in place. I don't know why my camera keeps turning off on me. I don't know what the heck I'm doing. Anyways, the roll cage goes through the floor, is welded to those braces, and it is as firm as you can get. It is solid as heck. The reason I built it myself is because the other ones, they come off the main hoop and they go at just a straight angle down. I wanted one to go along the roof and then go to the back window because I like the way it looks. I think it looks way cooler like that. It's just got a bitchin' look that I like. Then I mini tubbed it, and I did that. The rear wheel well area was a bit rotten, so I extended the wheel wells in 3 inches on each side. And the patch panels are not the same because I used material depending on where the rotten areas were. And you know, it's got a rugged Mad Max look, but it's alright. I like it. It's okay. The shock towers, the shock braces that are in the metal in the trunk, cut those out, welded that in. I made a brace, installed that, and now the shocks mount to that brace. And from there we go to the transmission. The transmission is a Auto Gear, which is a Muncie M22 Rock Crusher, which I had to have because I wanted the car to sound like the one in 2-lane blacktop, because that is the baddest shit ever, and that's just the way it was going to be. So I ordered that from Jeff at Midwest Muncie. Dude took care of me. Bad transmission, works great, sounds great. I love everything about it. It's got a strange drive shaft to a quick performance narrowed rear end. It's narrowed to, I believe, 56 inches from 60. And wheels and tires, those are 15 by 8. I specifically wanted to run 15 by 8.5 wheels. And that is a 10.5 inch slick, a 28 by 10.5 inch. And the front wheels and tires are 15 by 4. And they're both American Racing magnesiums. That front bolt pattern is actually 5 by 5.5, which is old forward, but I don't know if you've seen the price of magnesium wheels these days. It is out of control, and when you find a set of 15 by 4s, you take whatever you can get. And what else do we got? The body, I didn't really do much to the body. The patina has gotten a little worse since I got it, because like I said, this car, I built the entire thing in my backyard. It sat outside while I was building it. It wasn't ideal, but it's all I had at the time. Like I said, I work full-time. I'm not a rich guy. And to talk about the channel a little bit, yeah, I don't have the funds to be buying project cars every month, so, but there is another project car that I need to talk about, and that is a 1970 El Camino that is in my garage that has been there for over 20 years, and it's about halfway finished, and it's not been worked on in a while. So when I bought this car, you can imagine all the crap that I heard about, oh, you're gonna buy another car, it's just gonna sit there, what do you need 2 for, you already have a project, blah blah blah. Well, I was dead set on an older car, a 2-door coupe, and I wanted a manual transmission. And like I said, when I bought this car, as soon as I got it, I was down there every day after work, every weekend, every free minute I had working on it. Even on the days when I didn't want to work on it, when it would have just been easier to sit on the couch and watch YouTube and watch other people work on their cars, like I forced myself to get up and go do it. This car was gonna run. The naysayers were not gonna win. And the day it got running, like, I almost cried, man. It was beautiful. And I shut everybody up, which was also beautiful. So with the channel, like I said, not a rich guy. I can't buy tons of project cars. I can't buy big turbo motors, but we can work with what we got. And the channel is gonna help me get motivated to finish that other project. So we'll work on that. We'll do experimental stuff with this. I'll do how-tos. such as how to make yourself a cool custom shift knob. So what are my plans for the car now? Well, I want to tighten up the sheet metal. A lot of the panel gaps are they're not very good, and I wasn't worried about that at first, but as the car starts coming along, I want to clean that up. There's a lot of sheet metal that I want to do on the inside. Those are new rockers, but on the inside you can see like it's unfinished there. That one's all chunked up. So it's got a lot of metal work. I'll put another seat in it. And you know, I have a big block, a short block. The car is cool, but it's just not fast enough. I was always telling myself in the beginning, I don't care if it's fast, I just want it to look cool, be a cool driver. Well, I'm driving it around, it's not fast enough. I'm not, if I'm being honest with myself, I'm not happy with how fast it is. That thing probably makes 450 horsepower. I don't know what that is at the wheels, but it's not enough. It's cool, but it's not enough. So I'm thinking a high compression big block with maybe a blower, maybe a tunnel ram, not sure. But that might be in the future. And that's about it for now. I'm gonna put the hood on it. I'm gonna cut a hole in that thing. Other than that, I'm just gonna beat on it, make videos. I don't know, tell me what you guys think. What should I do to it next?